I sin glede over at mennesket kommet til verden. Slik det også med dere, og nå dere bedrøvet. Jeg skal se dere.
3 buses before you.
3 buses before me?
Yes, so can you park this behind? I will send you there on the...
Okay, no problem. Yes. Welcome.
Og grunnen for teksten er at Jesus og disiplene sitter samlet om påskemåltidet. Det er et helt spesielt påskemåltid, og det er kvelden før Golgata. Jesus har talt lenge til sine venner, og vi kommer inn i beretningen. Det har handlet om at han skal reise bort, at han skal bli usynlig, og disiplene på seg. Men han skal også komme hjem. Han skal komme på en ny måte. Det er ikke bare han som kommer, men det skal også Faderen, og det som han som er den hellige. I 14. kapitlet av det samme evangeliet, så står det: Jeg vil be Faderen, og han skal gi dere alle talsmenn, som skal bli hos dere for alltid. Sannhetens ord. Så kommer det: Jeg skal ikke la dere bli igjen.
So yes, 35 and 7 are here, they will pass. And you can...
Okay, and then I go behind them.
Yes.
38. All right, thank you.
Hos Johannes. Og Jesus har sagt at ånden som gav dere overbevise om synd og rettedom. Han har sagt at han som gav dere herlige Jesus. Teksten er Jesus sier: Stund stille ikke, og om en liten stund igjen skal dere se meg. Jesus ga også ned bort for deres øyne, og likevel skal de snart kunne se ham. Han kunne Jesus. En liten stund ser dere.
Hallo!
Hvor skal du stå her da?
Nei, bare kjøre etter han. Jeg er 38.
Jeg skulle egentlig ha den i dag tidlig. Så kommer vi gå på mann. Jeg tror han stod på mannsverk.
Nei, ikke på mannsverk.
Han har vært på mannsverk før.
Ja, men...
Jeg så på skapet. 53, ingen nøkkel.
Ja.
Så jeg ringte. Hvor er bussen min? Han er på Astrøya.
Ja. Også en gang, jeg ringte til vakt og fortalte meg, ja, bussen er på Espehaugen. Så jeg kjørte Espehaugen, bussen er ikke på Espehaugen, så jeg kjørte full fart til mannsverk. Så vi har kaos. Ikke bra fordi noen ganger vi har veldig kort tid.
Ja.
Og hvis jeg kjører tidlig klokka 5 eller klokka...
Det var klokken 5 i dag.
Vi skal ha noen system. Så noen busser skal stå, og vi skal ha, for eksempel, vi kjører ordre.
Ja.
1053 E. Så står på 10 og 1053 M.
Det står ikke hvor bussen skal hentes.
Ja, ingenting.
Hele sommeren, jeg har vært et par ganger på Astrøya, men nesten alltid på mannsverk.
Ja.
Denne vet jeg har vært på mannsverk før. Jeg stilte på mannsverk klokken 4:30. Ingen buss, hvis du går forbi klokken 5.
Så bare ta andre buss.
Jeg ringte vakten, jeg fikk 10:63, den er jo helt mat.
Ja.
De avløses.
Det er fint.
Ja.
Smerten skal avløses. Og hvis det sier det ingen spøk, det vet jeg godt som har stått midt oppi det. Dette må vi kunne kalle den store krisen. Enten det dreier seg om ektefelle, barn, foreldre eller andre kjære. Beretningen i Johannes evangelium om Lazarus sin død er talende på mange måter. Det står jo at Jesus ble opprørt og rystet. Maria og jødene som fulgte henne gråt. Ja, det står til og med at Jesus gråt. Vi hører formelig klagen og likevel har vi i vår kulturkrets ofte vært lite flinke til å la døden få rett oppmerksomhet blant oss. Det skal ikke være en oppmerksomhet for døden som fører oss til angst, og for det faktum at døden hver eneste år vil gi oss begynnelsen, sier jeg. Det skal være en oppmerksomhet for døden.
And the name of our bus driver is Latek. We'll be driving the 2-hour panoramic tour, and we've got a first aid kit just here behind the bus driver. We got a fire extinguisher under the seat, under the seat next to the exit behind, and very important also, the hammers near the windows. We can smash the windows in case of emergency, and we have 2 roof hatches where we can leave the bus as well in case of emergency. Not yet, please. Very important in Norway is fasten your seatbelts, because there is horrendous fines. And also I got checked on just 10 days ago. The police was walking through, checking on every seatbelt. And off we go.
So, which way we go? Left or right?
Let's do... Did you see where they left to?
No.
Okay. Oh, let's do... Helena said first.
Okay, alright.
First, let me apologize for the weather, because normally it's raining here in Bergen. Bergen is known as the rainiest city of Europe, and that has also advantages, especially because 99% of the electricity generated in Norway is coming from hydropower, and all along the coastline there's a lot of precipitation, and because of the fjord landscape, all the mountains next to the sea, it's kind of easy to dam the water in the mountains. Yeah, we're driving through an area here, a city quarter called Sandviken. Sandviken means sandy bay. I've never seen sand here though. I assume all those houses, they have been built over the sand. On the left hand side we can see the traditional colors, white, red and yellow. I will say a few more words to that later. On the left hand side we got the old slaughterhouse, which is now a hotel and conference center. Yeah, all the houses we can see on the left hand side, they are renovated old fisher houses, and nowadays they are very nice apartment and office buildings. And soon on the right hand side, after the little white house, we can see a statue in the middle of a little plaza here on the right hand side. That's the statue of Madame Felle. And Madame Felle is not of any historical significance, but she was a bar owner in this city quarter in Sandviken, and she allowed the people to chug down their beers, and after she passed away the people wanted to raise a statue for her. So personally I always find it amusing that in Norway you can raise statues for bar owners because they let you chug down beers. Yeah, the traditional colors, white, yellow and red. Normally the Norwegian people, they put a lot of emphasis on understatement, but the color, if you had a white colored house, people could see that you were very wealthy. That of course has changed today, but in the olden days that had to do with the the goods that those colors were made out of. White was made out of zinc and lead and had to be imported. On the left hand side we can see a very long yellow wooden building, and I would like to ask you if you have an idea what it could be. Any ideas? So the best thing, one guest once said, it's a Viking bowling, but it's actually a rope walk. So a rope walk is a factory that makes ropes, and originally there was more than 100 of those rope walks in Bergen, supplying the shipbuilding industry with rope, because a sailing ship needs needs many kilometers of rope or miles of rope. And today there's 3 of them left. Originally the Norwegians wanted to demolish them, but that was in the 50s, but then they decided to renovate them and turn them into museums, and that's what's happening with them now. Yeah, when we look around, I just saw an electric car passing by. When we look around and look at the number plates of cars, we can spot electric cars if the number plate starts with EL or EK. And Norway has the highest ownership of electric cars per capita in the world. So it's roughly 16 to 17 electric cars per 1,000 of population. And that has to do with a lot of funding from the government. A year ago you didn't even need to pay VAT on buying an electric car. And that made electric cars the cheapest in the world. There was 2 on the opposite side of the road here. And when you have an electric car, you have a lot of advantages, because you are allowed to use the bus lane in the city. This is annoying to the bus drivers, but good for the electric car owners. Also, you can charge your car for free, and you don't have to pay toll when you drive into the city center. Yeah, there's a lot of different views on electric cars. Here on the left hand side we just saw a Tesla overtaking. And one of the most important factors with electric cars is how is the electricity generated that is used in the electric car. And if you have a power plant that burns charcoal or coal or gas or oil, then it doesn't make that much sense, because you could burn the fuel directly in the car. Also, electric cars have a couple of disadvantages. For example, the range is much lower than from a petrol car, and also you have to charge it for quite a long time compared than if you just drive to the gas station and fill it up with petrol. Takes 5 minutes. And in Norway it's the case that 99% come from renewable energy, from renewable resources. The rain falls from the sky, gets dammed in the mountains, and then led into tubes through generators that generate electricity. And there's around a little bit more than 900 dams all over Norway, and last year they generated 120 terawatt hours of power. And just as comparison, a standard atomic nuclear reactor generates around 50 gigawatt hours per year. So that's, if you translate it into terawatt hours, that's 120,000 terawatt hours compared to gigawatt hours compared to 50 gigawatt hours. On the right hand side we can see a little marina here. The Norwegians can fulfill the dream of having their own ship, their own little boat. There's excellent fishing here in the fjords. You can catch salmon and trout. And I would like to tell you a little fairy tale. It's the fairy tale of Askeladden, and it's been collected by a literate duo called Asbjørnsen and Moe. And those two guys, they were hiking from farm to farm and fisher hut to fisher hut in the 19th century, collecting the stories of the grandparents that lived there. And every kid grows up with that story. One of those stories is the one of Askeladden. And Askeladden was the youngest of 3 brothers. And the father, the family that had taken debt on their farm, and to pay that debt off, they had the plan, the idea to go to the forest and chop firewood. So it was the duty of the firstborn, the strongest and oldest, to pick the axe and go into the forest and start chopping wood. So he went into the forest, picked a nice tree, and wanted to do the first swing, and suddenly a troll appeared. You might have heard of trolls today. They mostly live in the internet, and but actually they are from Norway, and they live in caves. And such a troll appeared to the oldest and strongest of those brothers while he was trying to chop wood. And trolls are actually quite tall, strong fairy beings, a bit stinky as well, and you wouldn't want to spend more than 5 seconds with a troll. And this troll appeared, and he said, "If I ever see you chopping wood in my forest, I'll have to kill you." And the firstborn, he got scared. He threw away the axe and ran back home to the farm and told everybody at home, "There's a troll, and he intimidated me. He wants to take my life if he ever sees me again chopping wood in the forest. And I'm not going back into this forest, I'm scared." And so the duty fell onto the second-born. So the second-born organized a new axe. He went into the forest and picked a mid-thick tree. And when he started to do the first swing, the troll appeared again. And he scared him as well, looking at him deep into the eyes and saying, "If I ever see you chopping wood in my forest, I shall kill you." And the second oldest, he got scared and ran away, with the only difference that he ran faster than the older brother. And he arrived back home, reported everything to the family, said, "There's a troll in the forest, I'll never go back into this forest. It was horrible, he wanted to take my life if he ever sees me again chopping wood." So the duty fell to Askeladden. Askeladden was the youngest, the smallest and the weakest of those brothers, but he was also the smartest. And he went into the forest and picked a nice and small tree according to his size. And when he wanted to set the first swing, the troll appeared again, and he looked deep into his eyes and said, "If I ever see you in my forest again, I shall kill you." But Askeladden was smarter. He had a piece of cheese with him, and he took it out of his backpack and stretched his hand out in front of him with the cheese in the fist, and he squeezed the cheese and all the water ran out of the cheese, and he said to the troll, "If you trying to intimidate me, I'm just gonna squeeze you like this rock." And the troll was surprised and intimidated and impressed, and he had never seen such a strong little human before. And he offered Askeladden to help him chop wood. So they both chopped wood and constructed a couple of wood piles, and after a while the troll got hungry, and he invited Askeladden into his cave, because caves, now we know, is where trolls live. And Askeladden came to the troll's cave, and the troll made a big fire and wanted to boil a big pot of porridge. And so they made a fire, boiled some porridge, and the troll had the idea of doing an eating competition. So he didn't even wait for Askeladden's answer and just started stuffing himself with porridge. And Askeladden already had enough after 2 spoons of porridge. Porridge wasn't his favorite dish either. And so he had the idea of, he took his backpack in the front over his belly and started filling the porridge into this backpack. And because trolls don't see as well, and so he stuffed the backpack, and the backpack got fuller and fuller, and the troll got fuller and fuller. And in the end, the troll said to Askeladden, "Okay, you win. You clearly have more capacity than me." And he was surprised again, because this was such a little human, and he was wondering where all this porridge went. And Askeladden had another idea. He took his little knife and cut the backpack open, let the porridge flow onto the ground, and said to the troll, "Look, I just cut my belly open, and I can eat and eat forever, because I love eating and I don't want to stop eating." And the troll was surprised again. He had never seen such a thing, and asked if this is not dangerous, and Askeladden said, "No, it's totally fine," and he handed over the knife. And maybe you can think what happened next. The troll cut his belly open and died, and Askeladden took some porridge with him. He took as much wood of the firewood as he could carry. He went back home to the farm and reported everything. He said, "The troll is dead, we can now chop wood, pay off our debt." Askeladden was the hero, and he married the most beautiful girl in the village, and the story is over. We have our first photo stop here, so if you'd like to, you can stay on the bus or come out of the bus with me.
Someone else. If you want to, it has a name on it.
There's a name on the back. There's a name. There's a name on the back.
Absolutely. Sure.
The toll was taken away. A little building appeared for Norwegian situation on the island of Osprey on the right. Yes, it's more. Oh, you haven't sailed yet, so you probably see it there when you're
Yeah.
leaving the harbor.
Simon was told I heard him say that, yes. And I gather he go on half a dozen languages. I heard him say that. I really because it's such an advantage. Oh, absolutely. Four. She had English, French, French, German, Italian, and Swiss. No, I was fascinated by those robes. They're burgundy, and there was a pretty one that was a really deep purple, and black.
The ebb and flow is much lower than
Now, in Florida, of course, you whitewash your roof tiles because it reflects the sun better. The clay tile like this, the ones that were originally made over your flies, the barrel tile, are more expensive. They're very stylish if that's your type of tile. We would do our own sometimes. Make a bleach solution, put it in a spray, you get it sprayed over the top because it was going to be slippery. And then it soak in the sun. Then you let blast it off. Or you can hold it down. Yeah, we would have been interested. But I think we were tired of those. We didn't care that much. Well, and it's the first day, so it's like
special roof tiles that are made in Denmark and Sweden. They're special glazed, they're very expensive, and they have
I don't hop out of bed, period. Ever. Well, I don't think. Last night, I may do that again tonight. But I can do whatever I need to do. help. I need a good but it takes a lot to do it. Yeah. So rainy. Sit here in the sun.
Get out of here.
See if there's a movie or if there's a show or something. Go see it. Because I figured you'd have something where you'd know what was on it when. Oh yes, it's all in there. When did it come today? When we were gone? It was last night. I would have been too tired to even notice it, let alone read it. And that's why I looked this one on next week where it said what time it was going to meet. What did you do? I was just and I had a little bit of a long I was going to read a page or two of it. I think I might have written one page. I forget it. I'm going to put it. And I was still
Nice job, Benji.
so simple.
Okay, boarding complete.
So we can continue.
Yes, back to the trolls. Originally, trolls were, as I said, scary, muscly, strong creatures that would live in the forests, and there's also they count as forest spirits, and there's also other spirits or fairy beings. For example, there's Huldras. Huldras are yeah, very beautiful women with, but they have a cow tail, and they always have to hide that tail, and they lure men into the forests. So they are similar like sirens. And you also have Nukkens. Nukkens are water spirits. They lure very close to the edge of a lake, and when you come too close to the lake, the Nukken will grab you and pull you to the bottom of the lake, and you drown. So all those fairy beings have probably been, they were created to mainly keep children away from the forests and to keep them away from roaming by themselves and go too close to water bodies by themselves. And nowadays this has changed. Nowadays the trolls, they are lucky charms, and normally we have at least 2 trolls in every bus. Now, not the driver and me, but sometimes there's little troll stages here, and they're supposed to bring luck. But we don't need luck. We have enough luck.
That's good.
Yeah, we don't have those little troll statues. You find them in every souvenir shop, though. If you need more luck, they're probably happy to sell you a troll. Yeah, on the right hand side, that tall building behind the trees, that's the trade school of Bergen. And trade has been over the centuries, since the year 1000, a big factor in Bergen's existence. And starting from the year 1000 around to the year 1450, there was the Hansa, a German trading organization controlling the trade in the Baltic Sea and in the North Sea. And their main good was stockfish. So that's dried codfish and cod liver oil they sold as well. The Hansa was purely German. There was only German men being in that union of trading guilds, and the purpose of the union was to secure the paths of the ships, of the trading ships, to secure those because they were very vulnerable to piracy. After 1450, the power of the Hansa slowly faded, and there was a few factors. For example, one of the bigger factors was that America was discovered, and there was a reassignment of the trading routes, and also the Reformation took place, and Hansa was split in 2. And also England and Holland advanced more and more in their trading operations, and those 3 factors are the 3 biggest factors of the seizing of the power of the Hansa Union. Yeah, also here in Bergen we have the houses of Brüggen, the old wooden colorful houses that was the center of operations here in Norway of the Hansa. Soon on the right hand side we can see a concrete building with a pink stripe. You may be able to spot it now on the right hand side, and I'd like to ask you again, do you have any idea what this building could be? Do you have an idea? Ah, you know it, okay. It's actually very difficult to guess. It's the architectural school. But it's a repurposed grain silo. Yeah, apparently it's very pretty in the inside. I haven't seen it myself though. Yeah, it would have to be very pretty. So. Yeah, here we can see a few cute white wooden houses. I already told you about the white color. White color was made out of zinc and earlier out of lead, and those goods had to be imported, and that's why it was the most expensive color for the wealthy families. And the second expensive color, that was yellow, made out of ochre, and this good was a bit easier to get, and the cheapest color was the red color, and this is made out of iron oxide, and iron oxide is abundant in Norway still up today. Steel and iron is one of the main export goods of Norway. Here on the right hand side we can see the old fire station in red. Yeah, all the piers and quays we can see that haven't been there all the time. That's actually all made out of rubble from the tunnel building industry. And yeah, we later will see another little tunnel, and Norway is also called the land of the tunnels, of the 1,000 tunnels, even though it's roughly a bit more than 900 only. And that has to do with the landscape as well, because it's very difficult to move overland in Norway, and because of the wealth of the country, now a lot is invested in building tunnels and bridges to connect the land, the countryside. When we look around here, we're still driving through Sandviken, the sandy bay, and all the houses we see on the left and right side, they are nowadays very good to live in, but in the olden times, specifically in the 19th century, they had a major disadvantage, and that was that they had no running water. And there was a doctor, Dr. Wiesner, who raised a little bathhouse. We can see it now on the left hand side, that little round building which is nowadays a cafe. And in Norwegian, the Saturday means lørdag, and that means as much as washing day. So every Saturday the people from Sandviken gathered in this little bathhouse and washed themselves to keep up with the hygiene. So you can imagine how busy that little round building was. I always assumed they did the washing in shifts. On the right hand side we can see the oldest remaining building of Bergen, the St. Mary's Church, also called Tyske Kirche or German Church, because also on the right hand side we can see the Schatztürme, and in there was the assembly hall of the Hansa here in Bergen, the houses of Brüggen are soon coming up on our right hand side. We get a nice back view. This is UNESCO World Heritage since 1979 and contains more than 60 wooden houses originally built in the 12th and 13th century. So, as I told you, the Hansa was a purely German men's group, and they slowly took over the church we just saw. That's why the church was called German Church. And around 20 years ago, the last Mass was held in German still. We're now driving over the Övregarten, and this road had many purposes during the centuries. One important one was the oldest business of the world. Prostitution was flourishing here because you can imagine all these German men in Brüggen in the Hanseatic quarters. They were desperate, and the punishment for creating a baby was to pay for the biggest barrel of beer that you could find in Brüggen. So I'm always wondering if that was for punishment or for party reasons. On the left hand side we see the Flöibahnen, the White House. That's the funicular that takes visitors up to 320 meters to a viewing platform. And also we can see on the left hand side the yellow building with the stair-shaped roof. That's the oldest primary school of Scandinavia, the Kristi Krilleskola. Right hand side we can see the Bazaar and the meat market. I wasn't allowed to sell meat under open sky, and also on the left hand side the Norwegians, we call this the American Embassy. Yeah, in the Bazaar on the right hand side, the building was originally planned to be demolished, but the king voted against it, and nowadays it's the home of a few cafes and a bar and a couple of shops. Yeah, also on the right hand side the summer fish market, a very popular attraction here in Bergen. Here you can find specialties from the North Sea that you're not getting anywhere else in the world. For example, there's you can get king's crab or also lobster. There's also a special cheese, the Brunost, which is brown cheese. I can recommend trying it. And on the left hand side we can see a statue of Ludwig Holberg. He was a famous playwright in the 18th century, and he coined the term Bergen, city of the seven mountains. And he was inspired by his journeys through Rome and the Vatican. Rome is called the city of the seven hills, and he coined it into the city of the seven mountains. Also a copy of this statue you can find in Copenhagen in Denmark, and because Ludwig Holberg was traveling between Bergen and Copenhagen a lot. On the right hand side we can see the winter fish market or all year round fish market. on the first level we have the tourist information as well. They also have a money exchange there. Yeah, here the trading of fish can go all year round. And on the right hand side we can see a catamaran ferry at the Strandkai Terminal. That's the ferry terminal that connects the surrounding fjords and islands with passenger traffic. Those catamaran ferries make up to 33 knots, which is quite fast for a ship. Also we get a nicer view of Brüggen here, and we will soon have another photo stop where we get an even better view of the houses of Brüggen and also the fortress of Bergen from there. It's on the left hand side with the Håkonshall. Sorry? The word Bergen derives from the word Björkvin, and Björkvin means meadow among the mountains. Björk means mountain, and Vin means meadow. We're now driving on the Nurnes Peninsula. This was also the place where famous composer Edvard Grieg was born and raised. He lived at house number 152. Also, that was his size in centimeters, 152 centimeters. And so this number seemed to have followed him through his life. So we are at our next photo stop, and if you wish you can also stay seated in the bus. We will take the same bus to continue our tour.
8 cents. Oh, and like 10 for. I got you. It's worth about 80 cents. I really never been to. The equivalent of 8 cents. Not much. It's the year before. And it's in
This one?
happened amongst my body. Yo, vänta! Det gör du, vadå? After party, big gangster party. Jag hope I don't kill somebody, so leave me about. Nej, vänta. Vadå? Jag trodde det var den här. Vadå?
Red.
Boarding complete. So the bay we just overlooked, that's the Bay of Borken, and this was the main settling area of Bergen. Everything away from this area was farmland or meadows. And also something happened here during the Second World War. As you might have known, the Nazis occupied Norway during the Second World War, and the Nazis, they captured a Dutch ship called Voorbode, that means as much as omen, and they transported explosives and ammunition on this ship, which wasn't built for that. And the Nazis didn't care about that, and to supply their troops they sent this ship with 124 tons of explosives and ammunition to Bergen, and it was led into the harbor, which shouldn't have happened either. And on the 20th of April 1944 an accident happened and the ship blew up, and it totally devastated the whole town. It took the roof of the Håkons Hall, and also the most common injury was blinding through glass shrapnel, and it was so powerful that still up to today you can find a piece of the anchor of that ship on one of the 7 mountains. Where we can spot it on the left side up the Sandviksfjellet. So the explosion was so powerful it took a piece of the anchor up there, and today it's called the Ankerhütte, and there is a little, it's made into concrete now, so nobody can steal it, but there's like a memorial plate for this accident. And also that was Hitler's birthday, and people thought it's sabotage, but they investigated very thoroughly and came to the conclusion that it was a very sad accident. On the right hand side we can see a part of the old city wall. So this was where Bergen ended or started, depending which direction you're coming from, and also traders that would offer their goods here, they would have to pay a toll. We're now driving over the Strandgarten, which is the fancy shopping mile here in Bergen. In the 18th century, these shops were mainly having colonial goods like, for example, tobacco, chocolate, and sugar, everything that came from America over here. For example, also coca leaves, and this was all sold around here. Nowadays it's a bit of a nicer shopping street. On the right hand side coming up, we see the first and oldest pharmacy of Bergen, the Swan Pharmacy, which was owned by the grandfather of Ole Bull. Who was Ole Bull? Ole Bull was one of the main motors of the so-called National Romantic Movement, which ultimately led to the independence of Norway. And Ole Bull was a very good-looking violinist, and also very talented. He was called the Paganini of the North, and he founded the theater we're gonna see soon on the right hand side with his private capital. He was kind of the Michael Jackson of the old days. When he came into the room, women fainted, and he was just very good looking, tall, and also very good violinist. He also was the guy who discovered Edvard Grieg, the famous composer, which also was a main character of the National Romantic Movement. So on the right hand side we can see the theater, the National Scene or Nationale Scene. This was the theater that was founded by Ole Bull with private capital, and the specialty about this, I think we have to go a bit faster, we have to be back at 4. This was founded with private capital from Ole Bull, and the specialty about this theater was that for the first time in history, the Norwegian language was spoken in theater. Before that, Danish was the main language in Norway, and Norwegian was merely a dialect of Danish. And the Denmark was in a kind of a union. The Danish kings, they ruled over Norway for almost 400 years until 1814, but I will tell you later a bit more about it. On the right hand side you can see another important character of the national scene, Bjørnstjerne Bjørnson. He was the Nobel Prize winner or laureate in 1903. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature, and he also wrote the words to the Norwegian anthem, Ja, vi elsker dette landet, yes, we love this country. So all the characters I mentioned, there was 4 characters: Henrik Ibsen, Bjørnstjerne Bjørnson, Edvard Grieg and Ole Bull. Those were the main characters of the national romantic movement that ultimately led to the independence of Norway, because it gave Norway a cultural identity. And this all started here with the theater. The theater being founded in 1850. If we would continue on the right hand side, we would arrive at the Hurtigruten terminal. The Hurtigruten is the old post ships which in the olden days connected all the coastal cities of Norway with passenger traffic and post. Nowadays those ships do mainly cruises, and they go up until the North Cape, and up there in the winter you can see the northern lights. As I said, Denmark has a long common history with Norway. There was different political concepts that Norway and Denmark was connected in, but always the Danish king was ruling over Norway, and this came to a sudden end in 1814 when Denmark lost the Napoleonic Wars alongside Napoleon, and suddenly Norway was given to Sweden as spoils of war, and in that time the Norwegians, we had enough time to give ourselves a constitution as the second country of the world after the United States. Norway gave itself a constitution that happened on the 17th of May in Eidsvoll in 1814. Eidsvoll is near Oslo. We're now driving on the Håkonsgaten. Håkon is a very Norwegian name. Also the crown prince nowadays is called Håkon. He's Håkon Magnus, and he will be the 8th in the long line of Håkons. On the right hand side we can see the St. John's Church, which is the biggest and tallest church in Bergen, and it has a capacity of 1,250 people. Nowadays there's mostly concerts being played here, no more religious mass here. Also very important for students, on the right hand side the pinkish building, that's the academic quarter, and it's important because here you get the cheapest beers If you have ever been to a bar here in Norway, for an average 0.5 liter beer, you pay around, in dollars, $12 to $14 US dollars. And this has to do because with the Vinmonopolet, the state of Norway has a monopoly on trading alcohol with a higher percentage than 4.75%. And on the other hand, this is very good for the health of the people that live in Norway. On the right hand side we can see the St. Paul's Church. This is the only Catholic church here in Bergen, and it's also the fastest growing community in Bergen, especially because of immigrants that like it here very much. Immigrants, for example, our bus driver, he's from Poland. Poland is mainly a Catholic country, and also the Philippines. On the left hand side we can see the Grieghallen. This is the home of the Philharmonic Orchestra of Bergen, with a life-sized statue of Edvard Grieg, and founded 1765. At that time Mozart was 9 years old, and this is one of the oldest orchestras in the world. And from a bird's perspective, it looks like a grand piano. Here we go to
Gammelhaugen, and then Paradis, and then up.
The area all along the ridge on the right hand side, that's university property, and this is also why this area is mainly populated by students and also migrants from all over the world. On the right hand side we can see the Institute of Geophysics. Geophysics being a very important science here in Norway, because as you might have heard, Norway is an oil country, and there has been oil found in 1969, very fittingly on Christmas, and the king had originally a company called Philips wanted to kind of get the oil cheap from the Norwegians, and the king voted against it. He said the money of the oil has to go into a fund, and this fund was generated to support the kids and the kids and the kids of the kids and so on of Norway once there is no more oil. So there's a lot of money being saved for that purpose, and that was the Ekofisk field in 1969. On the right hand side we can see a very good example of gentrification. This is an old industrial area. It has been renovated, and new apartment buildings have been built, and now there's nice apartment buildings. You can have a little ship in front of the in the marina. Can we speed it up?
Yep, yes. Okay. Yep.
We're now driving over Danmarksplassen. This is the place of the Danes, and that was called because of the humanitarian efforts that Denmark had for Norway in the Second World War. Yeah, as we heard before, Denmark's royalty was also ruling over Norway until 1814, and then the national romantic movement took place, and in this national romantic movement Norway got its cultural identity, and then this led up to the independence of Norway in 1905. There was the first Prime Minister of Norway, Christian Michelsen, and he asked the people living in Norway if they wanted to be independent from Sweden, and 99% of the people voted for independence, and for Sweden it would have been very difficult to hold power over Norway. The armies of Sweden and Norway, they were facing each other at the border already, but luckily there was no war, and Sweden let Norway become independent peacefully. On the right hand side we can see another rope walk, another rope factory of the three remaining ones here in Bergen. And after independence the Norwegians had to choose what kind of government would they like, and they were able to vote again. There was you could either vote for the Democratic Republic, which was the most common form at that time, and also the constitutional monarchy. And the politicians, they promoted the constitutional monarchy, and 60% of the Norwegians, they voted for the constitutional monarchy. And usually countries that made themselves independent, for example the United States, or also the revolution in France, they usually gave themselves the Democratic Republic. But this was different in Norway, Norway became a constitutional monarchy. Now there was only one little problem. There was no king in Norway. So Christian Michelsen, the first prime minister, he went on a little journey for half a year, looking around for a suitable royal, and he was found in Denmark. Prince Carl was ready to become the king of Norway, and so he was imported into Norway, and also, of course, we needed a queen. So we found that queen in England. It was at those days Princess Maud, and Princess Maud and Prince Carl became the royal couple of Norway. Also, Carl took the name Håkon, and he became Håkon the Seventh of Norway, and everything went well. So soon on the right hand side we can see Gamle Hogen, translated into Old Hill. This was the little Scottish baronial style castle that was built by Christian Michelsen after 1905. That was his home, and after he passed away he donated it to the royal family, and nowadays it's the royal family's home when there is when the family is living here in Bergen. You can see if the family is here by looking at the flag. If the flag is out, the family is here. If the flag is not out, the family is not in Bergen. So today they are somewhere else, and the park is open to the public. You can have very nice picnics in that park, and there's also a swimming pool there. Inside the building there is wooden carvings with Viking motifs, and also this was the home to Håkon Magnus, the crown prince, when he was studying at the Naval Academy here in Bergen. Quite a nice apartment. Yeah, of course, you also with Viking cruises and Norway being the land of the Vikings, you not getting around hearing about them. The Vikings, they officially appeared in the year 793 when a handful of Norsemen rowed and sailed over the North Sea to northern England and pillaged the monastery of Lindisfarne. And the Vikings are very famous for their pillaging efforts, but also it's been evidence now that only 5 to 10% of the Viking society engaged in those pillagings, and newer science shows that the Vikings were pillaging especially because of the early Christianization efforts of the Catholic Church, and they must have been so cruel that the Vikings just responded with violence back. So also the Viking society mainly consisted of traders, farmers, fishermen, and traders, and the Vikings made it as far in the south as Egypt. In the east they founded the city of Novgorod, which is nowadays Russia, and sailed all the way down to the Black Sea. And in the north the Vikings sailed all the way to the North Cape, and in the west Leif Erikson was actually the first European who set foot on the continent of America. And that was around the year 1000, and there's newer technologies, for example laser measuring from satellites and drones, and that make foundations of old Viking settlements visible. And originally there was not that many, but because of that technology it's getting more and more. They find more and more, especially around Canada. And when Leif Erikson moved there, he gave America the name Vinland the Good. Vin, we have heard that before, meadow, and the Good, the good. So he called America the Good Meadow. Yeah, on the left hand side we have a very nice overview over Bergen. Also it makes it more clear why Bergen was called Björkvin in the olden days. Björkvin meaning meadow among the mountains, and that had to do because of with the landscape. So the naming was mainly because 60% of Norwegian landscape are covered by mountainous terrain, and this landscape is a rarity. So all these meadows made the early settlers have cattle and sheep and goat and horses, so they could extract wool or milk and make cheese, and didn't just have to solely survive on fish. So that was a great advantage for the early settlers here. Yeah, back to the Vikings. The Vikings, if you look at Norway, the distance from Bergen is roughly, from Bergen to the North Cape, is roughly the same as from Bergen to Egypt, and that always is not very clear because of the rounding of the globe. So on most of the maps you have the compressed north, which makes Norway look smaller than it actually is. The coastline of Norway stretched out would go around the globe 2.5 times. So it's more than 100,000 kilometers, which is roughly 60 to 70,000 miles. And one Viking captain, Captain Harald, he made it to the current named town Istanbul, which in the olden days was called Constantinople and the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. And he left runic letters. He made them into a rock. He punched the runic letters into a rock, and maybe you can guess what he wrote into this rock. It's not very difficult. Maybe you have an idea. Ideas? Exactly. Harald was here, he wrote. So times don't change that much. Yeah, when we look around here a little bit, it looks a bit like from another country or another city. Apparently Gorbachev, the Russian president, drove through here once and said the Norwegians have truly understood communism. But of course Norway is not a communist country. It's far away from being that. It's very important for Norway to be in the NATO for protection, because Russia is not far away from here, and also the state has a very great influence on the laws, and also the people of Norway have a very great influence on the state, and there's a lot of bureaucracy here in Norway. I've found that out myself as well. But the bureaucracy is also very important to fairly share all the wealth of Norway between everyone. Norway is ranked on number 1 of the Human Development Index that is given out by the United Nations every year since more than 17 years. And including this index amongst other factors is especially the life expectancy, which is very high in Norway, and also the income per capita. There's another couple of factors like the educational system, the healthcare system, and also the focus on renewable energies. I will tell you later a little bit more. We're now driving under the hospital, the Haukeland Hospital, and it's just in front of us. We see it soon on the right and left side. And this hospital is the biggest employer in Vestlandet, in the region of Westland, which Bergen is the capital of. And it has 12,400 employees, also serving the oil rigs, the offshore oil rigs. And this is why this hospital is specialized in treating burn wounds and diving accidents. So they have a few decompression chambers in there, because an oil rig is not the safest place to work. And those accidents happen mostly there. Yeah, to the healthcare system in Norway, this is it's a very good healthcare system. You don't necessarily need health insurance, because the state covers the cost when you visit the doctor, so you rarely pay more than $60-70. Also on the left hand side we see a cemetery, and just behind the cemetery we have an old people's home, and this is not so encouraging, but this is how it is here in Norway. The healthcare system, when you visit the doctor, around $70 you pay maximum per day, and you get treated. This doesn't count for the dental health care. We now soon on the left hand side see the faculty for dental health care in the blue colored tones. This is where Norway and Bergen educates the dentists. And for most Norwegian people, they travel to another country for dental health, for example Poland or Sweden, because it's much cheaper to get dental health care outside of Norway. Yeah, it's called a dental holiday, to fly over and have your treatment and a little city sightseeing, and then coming back to Norway with healthy teeth. Yeah, the educational system in Norway is also very advanced. For example, the children, the families, they have a right to school the whole day, and they will finish school at 1 o'clock, and then they have the right to have a meal, and after the meal they start doing the homework together with the teacher and the fellow students. And this is a very efficient way of learning. Also, you start learning English already from the first grade, and you learn another second language, or a second foreign language from the second grade on. And also the kids with learning disability, they are left in the classes to put emphasis on the community rather than the competition. On the left hand side with the chimney, that building, that's the old Hansa brewery, which was a very important building in the olden days. Nowadays it's not so much important anymore. Most of the beer comes from outside the country and outside of Bergen. The second foreign language you can choose, and you can choose between a couple of languages. Mostly it's French, Spanish, German, and Italian also, Latin, but yeah, mostly it's Spanish or French. Nowadays, in the earlier days, German was very often taught in school as well. And now we going through a toll station. This camera automatically senses. We have a little device here in front of the bus, and it senses that the bus drove through the toll station and automatically calculates how much the company has to pay. And this toll system is in place because of all the exhaust from the cars what became a problem a couple of years ago, and to help this, it was the toll was made. The toll was invented. Soon on the left hand side we will pass the St. Jürgen's Hospital, which is this white wooden building on the left hand side. And in there Dr. Hansen, so-called Dr. Hansen, found a treatment for leprosy in the 18th century, and that's why people from all over the world came to Bergen to find treatment for the disease. Nowadays it's the Leprosy Museum, and it's, you can visit and you can see how a hospital looked in the 18th century. I'll tell you in a second. On the left hand side we see the old town hall. This building hasn't been used for in the last century, and it was repurposed as a madhouse. so you didn't have to change that much. But I got the question where people go on, was it Sundays or Saturdays? Holidays. It depends how long the holiday is. On Saturdays, lots of people meet in the city center. There's a lot of bars around here. Just quick, on the left-hand side we have the monument of the seafarers on Torgal Menningen. This is depicted seafarers from 4 different epochs. Do you think we can stop in front of Brugge to let some people go out?
Yeah.
So on the left-hand side, behind the fish market, this is where a lot of people meet with their little boats. So if you have a little boat, and you live on another island or near the shore, and then you can drive your boat into the bay and have a little party, especially on Saturdays. On Sundays, the beer is cheaper in Norway, and this is very encouraging to some people. And also for longer holidays in winter, especially, there is skiing areas just 1 hour from here. There's excellent skiing, and in summer, of course, there's an airport nearby, and people from Norway go pretty much everywhere. So from Spain, South America, the United States, Australia, you name it. On the right hand side we can see again the houses of Bruggen from a front view, and also we will have a little stop here. I just have a quick question to you. Do you know when the Viking cruise departs?
3:45. No.
Depart
until 6:30.
6:30.
6:30. 3:45. Okay, that was 5 minutes ago. Okay, because you're free to. Yeah.
Back to the
Back
ship.
to the ship.
Yeah, because at 6:30 the ship will depart, I heard. Is that correct? Yes. Because you're free to leave the tour here and remain in the city if you would like to. You can exit now, or you can come back with the bus with us. So you're free to choose. We open the door. I don't think anybody wants to leave. Anybody wants to leave? No? Okay, everybody wants to go home and have tea, it looks like. Okay, let's...
We want wine.
Wine, okay. Let's go and have some wine.
No, Sundays are cheaper, the beers are cheaper.
Yeah, originally all those buildings we see, they were built towards the waterfront, so the traders of the Hansa could straight unload and load the goods into the storage. And they stored all the goods just under the roof, which was the safest place at that time. Safe from vermin and also safe from thieves. Yeah, on the right hand side we have the fortress of Bergenhus, and with the Rosenkranz tower on the right hand side at the moment in scaffolding. This tower always had 2 cannons pointing towards the German traders to ensure a balance between the trade of the Germans and the Norwegian royalty. The road we're driving over hasn't been always there. The king that stayed in the Håkonshall on the right hand side, which was the seat of the Norwegian royalty until 1299. The king, he could directly land his ship onto the fortress. And yeah, this hall was built in the 13th century, and at that time Bergen took over after Trondheim, which was at that time called Nidaros. Yeah, we're at the end of our tour. Maybe give our bus driver a little applause for driving us safely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Blatek, his name. And yeah, I hope you had some interesting information and could take something with you. And of course, I can't let you go without teaching you a little bit of Norwegian. In Norway, we say for goodbye, ha det bra. Ha det bra. A female colleague once, she told me when she asked her guest what that means, he said, "How's your bra?" This is a very, very good way to remember it. Ha det bra. Ha det bra. All right. Thank you. Thanks.
How do you say thank you?
Thank you means tak or
Tak.
tusen tak for thousand thank you.
Oh,
Just like Danish.
Just like Danish, exactly. Tusen tak.
Yeah, let me just park a bit.
Okay?
Yeah, I just try to park the bus here.
Yeah.
One moment. You just... One minute.
as a brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tak. Welcome. Welcome.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. No? All right. Oh yeah. You live in the US. Which part of the US? Thank you. Bye. All the people wait.
So,
Shit.
did you
Yeah.
forget something?
I can go and check through the. Sorry for slow driving.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay. I was just confused sometimes.
No, because I was thinking you speak slowly.
Ah,
So I
okay.
will drive slowly so you have time to tell people
Ah.
about things, you know.
Okay, okay.
But otherwise, I could just, you know, go.
Okay.
I can be Speedy Gonzalez,
Okay.
but you know
Sometimes it was really confusing for me because I was like,
what to say.
what to say. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Sorry about it.
No, it's perfect. I don't think you did it because of counter working.
No, I was just thinking, okay, you know, just be slowly, so I will let you have time
Yeah.
to say about things. But otherwise, because some of the guys they are.
Yeah.
So,
But I found out that people actually enjoy my voice because it's very calm.
Yeah,
And
so
if,
you can sleep.
If they don't want to listen, they just go.
you know, sometimes I have a tour and I can hear
Yeah.
some of the people. So you know, for old people, it's nice to somehow enjoy also the tours because I mean, Some of them they can see, some of them they can sleep, so everybody is happy.
Look what we got.
Oh, this is Australia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you mind taking the dollar?
Yeah, no problem. You
Yeah.
do what you want.
Yeah. Okay.
2 of those and 3 of those.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. You have another tour again?
No, I already had this is my second already. Actually, it was supposed to be someone else, but he lost his voice.
Oh,
Too much.
oh, too much party,
Yeah,
too much drinking.
Oh, yeah. On Saturday, I was the first one at the party who went to sleep, and he was one of the last ones.
Oh yeah.
He's sick.
Oh. But also it's good that you have a water because it's
it's a
you need to drink when you talk. So it's. So they gave Australian money. So someone was Australian here.
Yeah, there was an Australian couple.
The one guy, he was half Polish. He lived in New Mexico. This one with the wheelchair, so they live in New Mexico. So it's,
It was good to mention that you're from Poland.
yeah.
First I thought, was that okay?
No, you know, generally people, I don't know, it depends because, you know, I mean, in every nation you have good people and bad people, but I think generally Polish people sometimes they have a bad reputation all over the world. Because of drinking, because of stealing, bad behavior, in some places.
Like for me in Germany, in the earlier days, I always thought the Polish were cheap workers, but now it's different because the Polish work very well.
Yeah.
They're in time, they do good jobs, so it's kind of
So it's a different thing, no? I mean, but you have a lot of Turkish people, no, in Germany.
Shitloads.
Yeah.
Very many.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
So you got some Australian money, maybe you will be able to use it on the
yeah.
transit to
I'll put it on my wall.
on the
Because it's half transparent even.
Oh, the plastic. Ah.
But it has the queen.
Yeah. Oh, the British Queen.
Yeah.
So like the Norwegians have the English and English and what was the English and the Danish
Danish king.
and English Queen.
Yeah.
Where are you going now? You have another tour?
No, I'm probably going shopping. I don't know. I need some to buy some things.
Some of the shops are open now today. Not
Isn't it Monday?
no, Sunday.
Sunday.
So most of the, like my wife yesterday, she was thinking that it's Friday yesterday.
Oh, God.
You know, so
True, it's Sunday.
Sometimes-
Oh no, then. I thought Sunday. It must have been the party I've been on that confused me.
yeah.
So, which shops are open? Do you think?
No, it should some shops open on Sunday, but it can
Yeah.
be, I don't know, you know, like in some places. I know
Okay.
there is a Bunpris in Nordnes, you know, there's close to Tulbuden.
Yeah.
It's always usually open Sunday, but other shops I'm not sure.
Oh, it's okay.
So
I live in Bergenhus. I just go up here and then I'm home.
oh yeah, so you live somewhere around here.
Yeah, very convenient.
Oh, so that's
Oh
good.
no, I forgot to give them the stupid.
So-
I always forget those.
Oh yeah, to this so they can write the opinion, right?
Yeah, because especially when you have a good tour, it's nice to hide some, so they think, okay.
Yeah, bureaucracy, no?
Yeah.
I
anyway.
gave everything. So you think to stay in Norway for? Oh yeah, you have to stay 6 months away from New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly.
So then after 6 months you will plan to go get the tourist visa again and go back.
Yeah. 1 tourist visa, 2 tourist visa, and then I go.
Partner visa.
Partner visa, yeah.
So that's, you know, it was interesting information because mainly what you say, some of the things were new to me.
Yeah. Was
So
it
that was
correct,
good.
you think?
No, it was good. It was good because some of the guides they just you know, usually
Yeah.
the same information, but at least I could hear some new things which was like not the same like the other guides are
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So that is good.
I just always forget that I don't think it's good to forget it.
Yeah, but I think this is more bureaucracy because what they write about the tour, right?
Yeah,
The tour,
yeah.
And then they deliver to the.
Yeah.
And that's good. Could be for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
you know, just like.
Yeah, it's okay. Next time maybe. Every time I think next time.
Yeah.
Hey, it was nice
Yeah,
meeting
nice
with
meeting you.
Yeah.
Maybe we see each other
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Okay. Have
So-
a good one.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah. It was on the seat.
We know it didn't go anywhere else. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Du lurer deg til alt klart, jeg.
Jag är färdig. Kör till Espahaugen.
Du er ferdig nå, ja?
Nej, kör Mansverk, fylla upp diesel och äter på med Espahaugen.
Å ja, ja.
Ja.
Ja, men det var kjekt å se deg.
Ja. Så
Nå,
du.
nå var jeg på Nordnes.
Ja, Nordnes. Du kört med en rullestol.
Nei, ikke med den. Nei, jeg kjørte noen. Og så rykket jeg ned et skilt der på Nordnes.
Oh ja.
Nå har det ikke mer. Det ligger sånn.
Ja.
Folk ser hva det er. Innkjøring forbudt.
Så är du färdig för idag? Och ska du köra Kolsnäs-turen?
Kolsnes.
Kolsnäs. 17:35. Nice.
45.
Kvart på 8. Kvart på 6.
Ja.
Så.
Men hvordan kom jeg til akvariet?
Akvariet. Nej, du kan inte köra till akvariet. Är stängt.
Oh, ja,
Du måste köra från Haugevägen.
Haukeveien.
Haugevägen eller vet inte. Det är andra vägen.
Ja, jeg kjørte andre veien.
Ja, är öppen nu?
Nei, men jeg kjørte det med den parkeringshallen, den klostergarasjen. Og så kjørte jeg inn i gatene.
Och ja, det är en liten ting. Du kört upp.
Nei, jeg kom ikke opp. Det sto en stor container i veien og et gjerde.
Så du må rigge.
Revers! Rasergir!
Nå är bättre köra runt och andra vägen.
Ja.
Nästa gång.
Ja, neste gang. Heldigvis. Det var bare skilt det viste på, ikke bilen.
Så. Du kör imorgon?
Ja.
Ja, jag ska ha kanske fri, men vet inte. Nu en gång folk ringer och
Ja.
idag ringer och må köra en timme. Okej, kör.
I morgen skal jeg kjøre til Kolsnes. 2 ganger.
Tidlig och eftermiddag.
Nei, ettermiddag og kveld.
Okej. Och ja, 12:30 och kvart på 6.
Ja, helt sikkert.
Ja. Ja. Så du väntar nu för din tur. Du har god tid, du kan sova nu.
Sove? Nei. Jeg har en gruppe som er på tur på byvandring.
Och ja, du väntar för gruppen?
Ja.
Okej. Så du har med guide? Tur.
Ja, en svenske.
Åh.
No good. Kjør inn her og der. Det er fint. Ja. Legg inn her og inn der. Bare så glir tilbake. Jeg skal aldri mer høre på. Aldri.
Så folk gick till Fløyen?
Nei.
Så hvor er din folk?
De er borte og spiser.
Åh ja.
Ja.
Så efter spise folk ringer till dig. Kom nu, vi kör.
Kom og hen. Kom i arbeid, sier de.
Kom, vi kör vidare.
Ja.
Okej, så vi snackas.
Ja.
Ha det.
sjelen tryggaste hav. Lyft meg mot himmelen, du makt i min makt. Rikdom og ære som menneske gjev, ikke mer enn den orknande vev.
Over havets fisker og
Nesten umulig å legge.
himmene som rør.
Til
Skap i evangeliet.
himmelske konge, det veit jeg forvist. Konge i Eva, og la du meg da sigrande inn i ditt rike få gå. Vær du mitt tru, den vona jeg ber, til jeg får skåe din herligdom der. Jesus, 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 noe ved det navn. Mester, frelser, Jesus, som en herlig duft etter regn. Jesus, 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 la himmel og jord forkynne klart. Konger og riker skal en dag forgå, men det navn skal for evig bestå.
Jesus, Jesus, la himmel og jord forkynne klart. Konger og riker skal en dag forgå, men det navn skal for evig bestå.
Jeg sitter ved foten av krossen din og ser din kropp selv i pine. Med sorg det slår meg i hjertet inn. Var det for syndene mine? Jeg som bare såra deg med tanker og ord. Jeg som bare synder, for jeg selv vil være stor. Far, kan du være meg nådig? Og far, kan du være meg nådig? Da ser du på meg, vet du det er ikke mitt barn, det er for deg. Jeg vil så gjerne fortjene deg når jeg lever her. Men Jesus, kan du bruke meg? Du ser hvor svak jeg er. Jeg som bare såra deg med tanker og ord. Jeg som bare synder, for jeg selv vil være stor. Far, kan du være meg nådig? Far, kan du være meg nådig? Da ser du på meg, vet du det er ikke mitt barn, Fra himmelen går ut en sang som kaller hjertet gang på gang. Bort fra jag til hos deg. Jeg må takke deg. Bort fra jag til hos deg. Jeg må takke deg. Når jeg går i fred her på min vei, du som smiler ned til meg, er i himmelen for meg. Jeg må takke deg, er i himmelen for meg. Jeg må takke deg. Når jeg når til himmelen smått om sen, du som viser deg som venn, åpner himmelen for meg. Jeg må takke deg, åpner himmelen for meg. Jeg må takke deg. Halleluja.
Hallo? Ja, hallo. T23 ja parkere po Espehaugen. Heire, okej, heire back, okej. Po doorside, ja. Heire. Ja, okej. Ja, jaar på mansverk nå skal fylle opp diesel. Ja. Nej, jag vet inte. Jag har ingen körning på min tempus för imorgon, så jag vet inte. Ja, ofta, ja. Ja, jag må hente. Så ingen problem, jag kan T53 kan stå på mansverk, men jag må bara köra till eller köra eller någon kan ta mig, eller jag må bruka vanlig offentlig transport, så jag vet inte. Ja, jag kan parkera T53 på mansverk och ta bara offentlig transport till Espehaugen kanske. Ja, men jag vet inte, visar någon på kontor. Jag kan pröva se, visar någon idag på kontor eller inte. Ja, jag kan pröva se. Vis nej, jag bara ta offentlig transport. Bara rutebuss eller bybane eller ja. Okej, så jag Ja. Okej, väldigt bra. Okej, så jag väntar. Okej, så jag bara fyller diesel och brukar lite stofsugare, ja. Okej, tusen tack. Ja, hej.